Hey, all this Xenoxis, and this is the Xenoxis show for the 3rd of August 2025. We're doing some Final Fantasy 12. You know, interesting because the way that they pull base the enemies basically is like it is possible to like grind up to a certain point. You can of course get very, very powerful before the mines and stuff that, but generally speaking, there are some people also that, oh, how powerful can you get before the prison place? Stuff that, and sure, that might sound like fun, but you know, it's often not a good idea. I mean, it is, I kind of did do a little bit of grinding here and stuff that, but yeah, you know. But all the license points that you have gained, for example, you still get to keep, right? You don't lose out on any license points, right, when you reset the board and stuff that, because let's actually high potion on one. Yeah, the fact that it's 88 every time is actually very, very good. I wonder if we can kill the bird or at this point, or if the bird is one of those super enemies. Because there is a dinosaur that I know that we cannot kill yet, which is actually very, very tough. Because I think the dinosaur is like, what, is he level 20 or is he level 30? I forgot. The dark talent is probably. But sometimes the red, like. But blue is. Like, it's not red when they're high level than you. Right, but I thought that it would be skull if they're like 2. I'm not gonna take the risk. I don't want to see how much damage they do to me though. Alright, that's just, it's going to be that area. So we need to go to that area. The caverns, theoretically right, if we could possibly get into the caverns, like I don't think there's going to be any chance that we can kill stuff, because a certain cavern has a certain Esper boss. Speak, I forgot if they even call Espers in this. Whatever, because yeah. Final Fantasy 12, in my opinion, right? I can understand why a lot of people didn't like it back in the day, because it's a very adult story and stuff that. And if you didn't use gambits, then you could like fuck yourself over like really hard. For example, it's possible to make sure that you actually steal with the gambit. For example, I forgot exactly, because you basically do this. I think you take foe, just visible, and then like you take steal. For example, you put steal here. Steel. Not foe nearest visible. You basically need to have foe. I think it's basically you need to have foe and then like 100% HP basic and stuff like that, and then have steel with every single character that you need to have like. You need to get the gambit for like a foe, basically for like foe like 100%, and then once it's not 100%, then you basically like, you know. Because yeah, you might just say that, oh sure, you have one character, but then it will basically try and steal all the time, which is not good, of course, obviously, because you need to have, which is why you need to have like something like with the HP and stuff like that. But all the gambits are of course very, very cheap to get and stuff like that, because yeah. See, that is the problem, right? That after that, for example, I might say, oh, use Q, the attack command after that, but see, he will go back to trying to steal always there and stuff that. So, you know, so we cannot really be doing that and stuff that. So, yeah, it's just something that I wanted to say and stuff that, like, you know, for example, if you have this set to, for example, if you have it set to 100% HP, then that means, for example, that if your character is the fastest, then your character will always steal once from the enemy and stuff that, you know. Yeah. You might say, oh, but just manually put in the steal, yeah, but then, you know, There's also something. But also one thing that you can do, of course, obviously, is once you overgear something, then you can use run around and steal and stuff that, you know. Yes, sir, that's good. Bolting, that isn't it a attack item? No. Because one thing, and people might not, I forgot if people know about this or not. Actually, let's get a battle load there for 50 there, instead of going for the health one. That's a 50 for battle load. Actually, let's get that, so I can get access to that battle lore as well, because that's a cheaper battle lore. And both can get this battle lore. Because yeah, it increases physical damage. It doesn't really show up you how like strong you are with the whole unarmed and stuff that's yeah. This is my status at level 10, 559, 342. It needs a lot of course obviously. Gambits. Yeah, because basically I was like extremely OP for where I had gotten into the game basically, because I made like every single character like a tank character or whatever basically and stuff that, you know. Which you might say, oh, that's not that useful, like making everyone a tank, you know, stuff that, so yeah. A potion on over here. It is 450. Was the last one of that though. Let's just use the regular potion and bash. One more potion because we have so many potions now. You go bash and one potion. Is this gonna be the sands that you go to later? Nope, not yet, okay. These are wind race dunes, yeah. Because you can explore a lot already and stuff that, you know, so yeah, you know. Oh, those look like the marks that I killed before. Can we kill the old runes though? The old runes are actually pretty tough. I thought they could sleep. Now I'm thinking about the different. Oh, he's actually buffing them. Yeah, he can actually first aid. Because they had critical health. Yeah, let's do that so that I use several lore using it on him. But here's the thing, right, when you're doing the whole grinding thing, right, for example, like you could, for example, make it so that they only attack like the party leader's target or whatever, right, and stuff that, and then not having like ambits active on one, and then just have one physically choose his target and stuff that, you know, especially if you want to grind a specific enemy and stuff that, because yeah. Because the more chains you get of a certain enemy, like the more rare drops you start getting. But then one thing that's very interesting, and this is very important to remember about the game, is when you're selling stuff, when you're selling stuff, basically, stuff that like after you sell certain stuff, you can actually get. Because he has 72 health now. But after you sell certain stuff, things can show up in the bazaar. Sometimes people might think that it has to do with selling for a certain amount, but that's actually untrue. It's often that you sell a certain amount of certain items, because basically the whole idea is that they're using these certain monster parts in order to make certain things and stuff that, you know. Luckily the bird isn't aggro. I think that might be the next area. Oh, sorry, yeah. And it's so weird that there aren't so many like alpha wolves and stuff that, you know, which is a bit weird. On is now level 11. Very nice. And people might think that all the treasures are always the same and stuff like that, because the treasures of course respawn in a lot of areas. But the treasures can actually be, there's a certain amount of treasure it can be. I forgot if it's dependent on your level or whatever, right? Or if it's not, or if it's fixed. Because I believe there are like ways to reach certain like high-end areas or high-level areas like early, if you know what you're doing, for example, like. Let's just have that. Let's not heal too much. Now the thing is, it's great of course that we're getting like license points, but you don't get like the XP on the character, so you know I'm losing out XP on Fran and stuff like that, so which is a bit bad. I have to realize with, for example, like getting, if each enemy is giving 96, for example, then that means killing 10 of them is 960 like experience and stuff like that, which is pretty busted in my opinion, but yeah. The one thing you could do otherwise is, for example, you take fleeing here. Now fleeing, in my opinion, should actually improve your attack speed, but yeah. You can see the bird just leaves you alone and stuff like that, so yeah. I'm gonna check if this is the next area, because it would be interesting if we can go into those areas actually. Oh, this is a camp actually. Don't get blah 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 travelers. Oh, you have some onion stuff. We can sell 6 eaters actually. X is worth 777. You can do this also, for example, to sell everything. You go to the left one and then you just press up. Oh yeah, the Imperial have blocked off to Yensi and Sensia. So we cannot reach the next area yet. The Sensia is actually a place that you want to grind for a long time, by the way. Because there are some enemies that if you reach a high enough combo, you can get some pretty good loot there. Because I believe you can actually get both ninja swords there or whatever, right? Some other stuff. Now, I don't know how viable monks are though, because you would think, right, that since monks doesn't technically use weapons, and you should technically not need the pole weapons, right? You should theoretically don't need the pole weapons at all, because you're at the poles. Eventually, like later on here, get like whale whisker, kanya, and stuff like that, and other stuff. But yeah. But I think this are, since monk are like unarmed, then that means that there is going to be a lot of battle or available for them and stuff that because they're not reliant on weapons and stuff that, you know. Because I remember, for example, also like if you get enough of a combo, like if you get like a very very high combo, then there are some like really really good stuff that can start dropping. And if I remember correctly, in the Essentia, you can start getting some better like katanas. For example, if you're using Bushi, or if you're using the, for example, otherwise, for example, Bushi is of course the katana wielder, Swordmaster's weapons katana. But there's also, for example, like the Shikari there, for example. I forgot if the Bushi gets access to it though. If the Bushis only get access to katanas, or if they also get access to... Okay, so they can use Genni, okay. Used by default even from the very start. But they don't get access to the ninja swords, right? Technically, they don't get access to the ninja swords. It's interesting, you see that stuff that you get from other trees affects certain other trees and stuff that, you know, which is very important. So yeah. But yeah, so the reason, for example, why Shikari is good is because Shikari right here, for example, like Ninja Swords 1, Ninja Swords 2, stuff that, like you get access to some ninja swords, stuff that. Or it would be interesting, for example, to just go with a party full of like ranged attackers, for example, like having guns, crossbows, regular bows. Damage is interesting, of course, because it's time reflect and stuff that, so yeah. You have the red battle maids as well. I know, of course, also theoretically that oh no, Mr. Skeleton guy, no, please. Yeah, lucky he isn't the really, really scary enemy that you can meet here. And I don't know if that enemy is completely random. There's a certain enemy that can start chasing you that is way worse than the skeleton that almost made me die when I was here earlier and stuff that with the soul character. So there's basically a guy that can show up. That is basically like a ghost-like enemy that teleports around and that can like cast some very nasty, very, very powerful stuff. You know, so yeah. Nice. And it really feels like they got inspired by Final Fantasy XI, because Final Fantasy XI, as you might remember, was an actual online MMORPG. Actually, that was their first MMORPG and stuff that, you know. I never got to play Final Fantasy XI. Like, I mean, it would have been cool if they somehow could do a remake of Final Fantasy XI, but to release it as like an offline game or whatever, right? But with maybe AI controlled offense or whatever, or some sort of gambit system like Final Fantasy 12 or whatever, because yeah. It definitely feels like Final Fantasy 12 took inspiration from the whole Final Fantasy 11, but they decided to like make it like an offline thing, you know, and stuff that they got inspired by the whole thing, you know. Punch. About ghost attack, but yeah. Yeah, so that will take you over there somewhere. bother with the wolves. If you're holding fleeing though, your allies shouldn't attack, even if you are near enemies. Although you have to be very, very careful, of course, if there's a treasure that you really want to loot. Because you cannot loot the treasure when that thing is up, for example. Now, see. That's the main problem, stuff that happens. Stuff that. Because all I wanted to do was to loot the treasure, but then they broke the combo and stuff that, so you know. The question is, where is this gonna go though? Like, are you able to get here from the other side? Or this could be bad. I forgot, can you even explore this area yet? Yeah, fierce sandstorm, halter of ants, worm's nest. Do you have one? I thought we picked up. Oh yeah, we did pick up a high potion earlier, but still, can we salt, please? Not the salt, yeah. Did that cause sandstorm everywhere? Huh. Okay, so small battle lore. Aha. Get a battle lore, so by the way. Because yeah, obviously the battle lore affects a lot of our damage and stuff there, but the whole once we get down further here, for example, once we get access to numerology, that's actually very good. Except numerology is a weird attack, of course, but yeah, but numerology is that in games that have numerology, you can often break the games with just numerology alone. Because I believe that that's how you break Final Fantasy Tactics, actually, that there is a... Because you can, of course, combine effects from several different classes and stuff that, and that's technically true still in this game and stuff that you can combine certain classes. And stuff that, and there are broken stuff you can do. I mean, in Final Fantasy Tactics, for example, you can build summoners a certain way. For example, you combine the Time Mage role or whatever it is. Like the summoners, you can like do stuff faster, so you can basically do the summons quicker because summons get affected by your like if you're hasted, then your summons actually come out quicker. And then there are like other things that you can do, you know, stuff there, because summons are very powerful, of course, in Tactics. Let's use Type Potion. Because of course once you reach certain points, certain quote areas unlock or whatever, when you reach certain areas. Now the thing is, theoretically, I believe that we could reach yeah, that's an allied character, by the way. Let's go to Raven Astra. But hopefully you can avoid that. Because you actually need to go inside, I believe. But yeah, but even if you have the steel thing, right, like... Because even if you have like the steel when they're at 100%, right, and it's like... But does the steel mean like when... Because I'm trying to think about something, right, like... For example, is the steel individually for each character? For example, like, if for example steel with one, for example, and the steel is successful, does that mean that if I'm also queuing a steel, for example, with Fran and with Voltaire, do they get the item as well? Like, can they still get a like their steel being successful and stuff that, you know? Yeah, I want to actually try and get the Gambit here. Stuff that. I don't think that they have changed the stuff in the shop yet here, though. But we should be able to get the better thing for Fran, actually, and stuff that, so, you know. I think I get the buckler. Let's just make sure so that we have one of each thing here. Even though we don't need them, you know. Sedan ether, dun 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 dun. Download in. It also has this battle order as well, so yeah. Do 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 do. Yeah, but this takes place like way after the Final Fantasy Tactics and stuff that, you know. Is this techniques then? Right. Yeah, this techniques. Alright. I got the file list of techniques. Dude. I already have all of them. I got a fine list. A fine list. Like it's just sometimes, you know, it's... Yeah, the gambits are a really big part of, you know... It is entirely possible, of course, to beat the game without gambits, but there's a lot of things that get way more annoying without gambits. Highest max HP, highest MP, lowest MP, highest max MP. So very specific things, for example, like highest speed cast slow on it, highest defense cast this on it if there's like. This means, for example, if you run into a weak area, you can use set this to target something that only has more than a certain amount of HP and stuff that, you know. For example, there you can take, for example, target any foe with full HP. For example, you could have that, oh, you steal on an enemy only when they have like 90% or more HP or whatever, right? And stuff that, so it's not used to steal at 100% because, you know. I know that we don't need everything and stuff that, and eventually there are some things. And I don't know why certain ones even exist and stuff that, like why target when they're a specific status, unless there's something like, oh, this weapon does more damage if they're affected by a status or whatever, you know. That's of course interesting, for example, target any foe weak against ice. Don't the character need to know it, or will it automatically use to like do it, for example, like. Undead flying for character status blind. This is 300, I need to remember that. And here it is 51 skill and 17. Get as many as possible here. I mean, we don't need all the gambits still, but you know, I don't think there was a worth getting certain. Because we shouldn't have gotten under 300 ones, because you know. Some of the status systems actually. And self is of course interesting because then you can make sure that your character will try and like heal itself and stuff that once it's a certain amount. Or if something is similar to osmosis in this, for example, you can, you know. It's 50. Yeah. Let's do that for now. And then we'll go to room. So then now you can do the old gambit setup then. For like 90%. Right, and they won't be able to do the whole steel setup because I don't have more gambits. That's the thing, you also need to get gambits on the actual license board here. Get more gambit slots. Yeah, so when it's like 90% or more HP, it's better than doing the 100% because then, for example, like, oh, they might attack something before I get to attack it or whatever, right? Yeah. But that means that you will probably use steel ones from something because there's no way that their first attack is going to deal like less, so that they're less than 90%. Otherwise, right, there is also like 70% is the next one. Yeah, that is less than 90%. So the more it be. Oh. We're going to Giza Plains actually. I believe it's on, isn't it on? I think it's on Tuesday when we're actually getting some of the PlayStation Plus games. I'm actually really hoping that the demo that is like a Nintendo Switch demo, I hope that that demo comes to the PS5 as well. Because there's apparently going to be a demo of I wonder if that demo is, or if that's a Nintendo exclusive. There was a game that looks like an action RPG that is from Square Enix that is also like a 2D HD game and stuff like that. That looked interesting because the character kind of looked like he was supposed to be like a combination of a bard and like a red mage, whatever, right? And I think that seems to be interesting that it seems to evolve like time travel, like, so is it more Chrono Trigger coded, you know, is the question, you know? Okay, so he got to steal once there, for example. Because that will still mean that I will get a steal off, even against very, very weak enemies and stuff like that, you know. I don't think you can get those things yet. It's not until you return to the mines at a later point in the game. It's basically like a... Like, I forgot if Gilgamesh was a hunt in this or not, because basically there is at one point when you can like fight Gilgamesh, for example, and then you're actually able to steal from Gilgamesh, I believe. But I believe the steal is a rare steal, so that there is a certain thing that you want to make sure that you get first. I believe there's a specific thing you want first to get your hands on and stuff like that. Yeah. Yoink. Because you might think that all the steel is always the same, but that's actually untrue. Like, the steel can actually change quite a bit. And it is a part there that you cannot reach it. You cannot go to the bottom there, for example, because there's a thing in the way there. That thing actually gets removed when it starts raining and stuff there, because, yeah. The Muska East sand. Yeah. And that puts us over here. But you cannot take the ferry over yet. It's bar and pass, so there's an albino forest, and then you have, for example, here that is locked, whatever it is, because yeah. Oops. You can see that continued the chain there and stuff like that, because yeah. I don't think I can get to that area yet, though. I think it's going to be locked off from the albino forest. Fortress, yeah. There's actually a way to get back into the bar and pass it, if I remember correctly, but I think that had to do with a specific count before you can go back in, actually. Yeah, this is still going to be locked off, right? Yeah. You can see they don't allow you to go here. Although I believe there are some glitches you can do to get past them, I think, in the game. Although I forgot how those glitches work. That's different because I know there are shenanigans you can do to get to certain areas very, very early and stuff like that, right? And there's, for example, like there's a... If you go, I forgot what build you have to be, but that's warriors with sword and shield. Because it doesn't have to do with the katanas. I think you actually have to be a knight to get access to the two-handed swords, right? Because those are regular swords. But I think there are two-handed swords somewhere further on. Because this is still just one-handed sword, so yeah, there we go. Here, you need to rush this to get to Claymore. Get those 1, get those 2 defenders of the Queen. Get those 3 Ultima Blade. Get those 4 Ragnarok. Excalibur is there. Genium, Attorney Soul. Excalibur as well, so yeah. Which is why the knight is really good because of that, but of course with if you are Kotlota Bushi, you just get access to like katanas immediately and stuff like that, but yeah. As I said, with Shikari you can get Ninja Swords, the Ninja Swords 2 there, for example. I forgot if there even is some Ninja Sword 3 that you can get to even. And Ninja Swords 3 is the Koga Blade. Like Dark Blade and Mesa, I think that those are also Ninja Swords. The Kinesis is interesting, of course, deal range damage with melee weapons. You got an Agasa and Mina. Those look more like... Those actually looks like the dagger icon instead. That's dagger, that's dagger. Because obviously they look like that. So the thing that was over here, those are actual like ninja swords. All the stuff up here, for example, is daggers. It's very important, of course, because yeah. the thing is, yes, you can grind a lot and stuff that in this, of course, to get a lot of license point early on, because it's entirely possible to use, like, if you have enough hours, then you can use grind like really early on and start getting like really powerful. You might say, yeah, but there's a limit to what gear you can get early on, so that's true, but you don't need to get very far into the game to get certain specific gear pieces. Because if you want to get katanas, for example, you can already have katanas, for example, if you do the whole build with the whole Bushi here, for example. If you go in on Bushi here, you have katanas 1, for example, then you have katanas 2 somewhere here, basically, and stuff that's, yeah. And then you have actually have access to mystic armor and stuff that, which means you have access to actual spell casting and stuff that, and you might say, like, okay, like, why do you get a bounce of magic lore, for example, and stuff that, but it's apparently the magic that actually affects the damage that you do and stuff that, so yeah. You also get a lot of swiftness actually with this class. So swiftness, reduced action time basically and stuff like that, so yeah. You also have battle lore also as well, so yeah. So just because I have, for example, okay, have you changed yet what you have? Okay, Poison and Box, Blizzard, Immobilize, Thunder. And you are still techniques, right? I don't get access to... For example, you have access to your long swords here, Cypress Bow, Silver Bow, Capella. Alright, we can actually enter the place here actually. Oh, does this allow me to fly somewhere else though? I don't think there's anything you can do with getting access to this all at this point. No. I know there is a certain linked side quest you can start somewhere, but I don't remember where it is. Because I believe there is one that actually requires you to travel to a bunch of places or whatever, right? And there's like a really, really good reward, if I remember correctly, somewhere. Except you cannot go, of course, to the place. Okay. Yeah, because this eventually, if I remember correctly, gets fixed. This actually becomes a way out into another area and stuff. That's yeah. Or the dungeons or whatever, because yeah. Yeah, it's very good, of course, the fact that this class specifically is like, not needing actual weapons and stuff. That meaning, for example, like all the battle lords become super important, meaning that you can theoretically reach end game damage. And one thing that was interesting with 12 also is that they managed to make a fusion and stuff that just because of how all the areas got connected and stuff that, and But basically, for example, once you get access to the Western stands or the Sandia stands, whatever they call it, right? If you go over here. For example, like you like to the next area that's to the west there, for example. In that area, for example, if you build up a big enough combo, then you can actually have certain katanas drop, if I remember correctly, and maybe even a ninja sword. I think you can actually get to a ninja sword with that. Like you can get like if you go Shikari, you can get to like the first tier of ninja swords. You can get one of those, I believe it is. You can get, but you can also, for example, I believe you can also for if you go Bushi, for example, you can get Safuno. Maybe it's even higher than that you can get. But yeah. Because generally speaking, the ones that tend to have like weapons and stuff that tend to be enemies that are like quote-unquote humanoid often. The ones that actually have like weapons on them and stuff that, because that kind of makes sense. Now the question is though, for example, how long, like what level should I have before I try to like kill the dino? There was at one point when I tried to kill the dino, and I did manage to do a lot of damage to it because I had some usable items and stuff like that. But then of course I wasted those usable items because I did not end up killing the dinosaur and stuff like that. Because you don't want to get to the point to where you get back after you do a certain thing and then you used one shot the dinosaur like that it's like no challenge at all, because you want to defeat the dinosaur earlier than that actually and stuff, because yeah. And I really like how the steal is not always the same either when you steal from something and stuff that, yeah. That the steal can change and stuff that was very important. It's so weird that certain places can become dark like that even when you've already explored them and stuff that, yeah. It might have to do with how areas get loaded in and stuff that, Broke the combos there. But then you turn off gambits or whatever, right? Could be the thing, you know, but yeah. But here, for example, they say, oh, you have to talk to the boss man or whatever it is to, you know. There's another entrance around here somewhere. I wonder if that means that I can reach from the northern place there now. Because there's a lot of loot here you can get. I also know how good katanas are, for example, because of course obviously like classes that are technically strong, like you can make some of the classes from like Final Fantasy Tactics if you really want to and stuff there, because yeah. Like I said, yeah, I don't think there is a jump command in this, although I'm not 100% certain, you know. Because it was a long time ago when I got to game stuff and stuff that, you know, because, you know, you can spend just a very long time doing stuff, you know. Because you might say, oh, why kill those? They only give you 1 license points. But that's the whole thing, like if something like dies very quickly, then you can get a lot of license points eventually from them. I know that there's a certain enemy that I didn't kill here the first time. I was here because I didn't know if I could kill it or not, and there are some like enemies near the beach here that you can kill. You can kill, of course, the cockatoos as well, so yeah. Nice. It has decent XP. I think we can probably not go to the north yet anyway, so still. Is there an item here? Yes. Sometimes also there are like certain items that can actually very rarely show up or whatever, right? But yeah. But I do remember that there are certain like things, but I forgot exactly how those glitches work. Whatever it is that you do. So that, because yeah. Because basically there's a way to get into a certain area that if you have enough license points, then you can, for example, get to a certain type of weapon, and you can have like the two-handed like night weapons, like the claymores and stuff that, because yeah.